Today we're going to talk about service bulletins. What are service bulletins? Why do we have service bulletins? Are they good? Are they bad? Well, let's talk about service bulletins as far as how they relate to aviation. Traditionally, service bulletins have been a major part of aviation. In experimental home-built airplanes, not so much. We do this because we like it and because we want our customers to be happy. Now, can we guarantee that something that was designed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, has all the same parts in it as it does to a customer that receives an engine tomorrow? Of course we cannot, because we actually fly our own airplane engines. We test them, we fly them, we have customers. Actually, some people frown on, they have customers that fly their airplanes for testing. No, it's not like that. But yes, there are lots of customers that have all kinds of hours on their engines. And once in a while, something happens. A gearbox is running a little warmer than it should. A radiator needs to be made a little bit bigger, things like that. And we are not interested in solving just the issue or the improved version of that for one person. Once it's a known thing that, yeah, if we can make everyone's engine better by doing this, then from tomorrow on, all engines will be that way. Unfortunately, engines that shipped last week will not be that way, which means that an airworthiness directive or a service bulletin can apply to an engine that left yesterday. Now, it's much less likely, of course, someone that has the latest year will likely have all improvements. And I'm not even saying that things don't change constantly, but they do gradually get better, and they do change over time. So we are now at the point in our company where we are willing to offer service bulletins so everyone can have the latest generation engine. Let's talk about cost. Who pays for a service bulletin on an engine? Earlier models of engines can have the benefit of that by simply paying the difference between what they paid when they bought the engine and what the price of the engine is now. Now, what does that mean? That means that a company like Viking is clearly there for you. We will do the labor, we'll make sure that your engine is up and running to the latest standard, but you have to pay for the better parts, the parts that you never really paid for in the first place, because we didn't use high-end parts. We used the level of parts we thought were adequate at the time. Now, if they were upgraded, let's give an example. If a bearing was $35 in a gearbox, and the recent gearboxes that have shipped have bearings that are $250 each, then clearly the newer bearings are worth having. And the cost would then go to the customer. The company, us, Viking, would provide the labor. So labor is included, parts and shipping is not included. Now let's talk more specifically about this particular engine. We're going to have service bulletins on all of our models. There will be different service bulletins. We've started with our turbocharged engine that I'm leaning on. The gearbox has gradually improved as the horsepower have gone up on the engines, and it's time for a service bulletin on the gearbox. We've also continued to tune the engine better. We have installed more protection in the ECU for the engine and so forth. The ECU upgrade is free of charge. There's software. The ECU just has to be shipped here. We can install the software and you're all set to go. The gearbox, not quite as easy. Again, ship it here and we will see what it needs. If it only needs one bearing, it's $250. If it needs 4 bearings, it's $1,000. If somebody wants the gearbox and they want some nicer features added, like sight glasses and things that didn't exist on earlier gearboxes, then it'll be more. So it's basically, it depends on what the customer wants done, and it depends on what bearings are already in the gearbox. So it will fluctuate from almost no money to $1,500, somewhere in that range. So you look at that, what is $1,500? Well, $1,500 is quite a bit of money. It's just about like the same money that someone will spend on an iPhone upgrade every 2-3 years. So should you as a customer see the value in doing this and upgrade your gearbox? Well, that part is really, that's not up to Viking. We will provide the service bulletins, we'll provide the labor, we will buy the improved parts, and we will install them. It will not be our decision for someone to decide if they need to have their gearbox upgraded or not. However, according to Viking, we want you to be as safe as possible. We want you to have your gearbox last as long as possible. We want your ECU to have the latest software. We want all customers to be successful. So according to Viking, these are mandatory updates. What does that mean for you? Well, no one can force you to do anything, but according to Viking, these are mandatory updates. And one last thing, what company would be preferable to work with as a customer? Rotax, of course, have had lots and lots of service bulletins on their 912 engines, and it's been a safe engine because people comply with service bulletins. Lycoming has had lots and lots of service bulletins, some of them costing $8,000 to $10,000 because you needed a new crankshaft, not including tearing the whole engine down and so forth and so on. Basically what I'm getting at is, it is our opinion, and from what we understand from plenty of our customers, that they would rather work with a company that does provide updates, does notify them when something needs to be improved upon, and in general want to keep their engine at the absolute latest and greatest as far as technology and also in safety, and also not wanting to have their engine fall behind the development that's going on at Viking for their own use and also for the time when they want to sell this airplane, if that ever becomes an issue. And then of course you might have the opposite. You might find companies that are supposedly has hundreds and hundreds of customers and engines out in the field, and you can't find a single service bulletin anywhere. We don't want to be like that. We want to work closely with our customers. We want to be a team with our customer. We want all you guys to have the best performing engines, not have to search for service bulletins, updates, have an open discussion on forums and so forth and so on. And then when your service bulletin has been completed, you will get obviously be recorded in our records that you have your ECU, latest software, you have the proper bearings in the gearbox. It will be stamped, and a notification can be made to your logbook that you have the latest and greatest Viking engine.